with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what is going on, Automotive Nation? I'm Jason Harris, and thanks for joining me for a fun pre-NADA chat. Yes, if you didn't know, now you know. NADA is literally right around the corner. It is the Super Bowl of automotive conferences, with huge amount of education, huge opportunities to see friends and partners and network, but also to see what's going on in technology, what's new in technology. It is going to be an amazing event. And I have literally one of my favorite people. In fact, I've been looking forward all week to this conversation. All right. Because look, there's only, guys, I can count on one hand. All right. The people that in this business that have this level of passion, this level of knowledge, expertise, and just thoughtfulness when it comes around the automotive industry. Guys, I have the one, the only, the oh so famous Ed French. Ed, did I set that up okay for you? Was that all right?
Yeah, I checks in the mail. That sounds pretty good to me, Jason. Thank you. Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
I'm so glad that we got the chance to connect and have this conversation. Hey, real quick, Ed, for everybody out there watching, listening right now, and I'm talking to like probably maybe the 4 or 5 people that don't know who you are. If you don't mind, I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story. A, because I am just fundamentally fascinated how in the world people just kind of get into this industry. So, Ed,
Sure.
How did you start in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, I want to start by saying I'm celebrating 53 years in the retail automotive business. So
That is awesome.
I started out in the fixed operations. Frankly, I started out as a technician in fixed operations in the early 70s and moved through seats in the fixed operations. Ended up being a fixed operations director, and then in your life, Jason, there are a couple of mentors generally that help you in your life. And I was lucky enough to have a couple of them and saw more talent in me than I saw in myself. And had a couple of mentors actually help me through the sales of the business, now combining it with my fixed operations experience, and ended up owning stores and senior leadership in stores. And frankly, over the last 53 years, I've had the opportunity to sit in every chair. And now for the last 15 years, I've been in the consulting business and have my own consulting company that focuses on dealers that want to really improve their efficiency and processes, more specifically in the used car and general sales manager and general manager leadership topics that I spend most of my time on today. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I've been very blessed. It's the industry's given me a wonderful life, and what I'm doing now is trying to give back, and hopefully that anybody on this call might get one little nugget that they can take and pay. I'm paying it forward, so to speak, Jason. So
no. Look, I love it, and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Ed, we've had the opportunity to hang out a couple times, and every time I've seen you, your willingness and wanting and your desire to engage with others and really pass on that knowledge is always been, like I said, there's only a handful of people I say in this industry that has risen to that kind of level, and I'm so excited that we get to have you today. And I'm glad that you brought up leadership, because boy, it seems like there's been a let's see, I don't want to call it a reset, but there's definitely a whole new set of operators out there.
right.
And maybe because they came in during COVID, or they came in during a time in our industry that was more transactional versus being personable, I feel like a lot of them maybe skipped on that leadership aspect. So I'm glad that you are still real
Right.
focused on the leadership. In fact, actually, guys, this podcast is for the leaderships that's out there, right? The leaders out there right now, that you're going to NADA. You're going to NADA because you want, all right, to educate yourself and continue to grow yourself in leadership. Ed, real quick, let's kick it off with, are there any tips and suggestions that you would make for someone who's maybe new to the business and, this might be one of their first few? I mean, I know this is my 23rd. How many ADAs would this be for you?
41.
Oh my gosh.
I've been on tour, and
Yes.
one of them has been, I just want to remind everybody how blessed we are to
Mm,
have an association like NADA that takes the time to put all this together so that we can all benefit from it.
100%.
We're very lucky to be in this industry and very lucky to have an association like NADA that gives us this forum where we can go learn and evaluate products in one setting.
Yes.
And most importantly, uh, have the opportunity to uh, get that knowledge either through networking or educational classes. Um, you know, a lot of folks used to treat NADA like a party. It's no longer needs to be thought of like a party. It needs to
Very
be thought
true.
of like continuing education. And I think we all have to think about how much money it costs to get us out there, and we need to take advantage and really look at the true ROI. In our businesses, Jason, we look at ROI. We need to look at the ROI of the NADA convention, and to do that, you have to really have a plan or a framework. And that's what I'm hoping that dealers will take away from our little session this morning is you just can't get on a plane and show up out there. You have to do some homework, and frankly, you have to identify a few things so that you can make the most out of it, because it can be
Yes.
overwhelming if you haven't been there either for the first time or even for just a few times. It can be very overwhelming.
It can be incredibly overwhelming. I
Mhm.
swear, Ed, they find every Bigtron TV and they can find
Right,
in the country and bring it into one singular building. I mean, look, Las Vegas is already kind of sensory overload. Um,
right,
you know,
right.
guys, not only that is this, sensory overload, but it's also stretched over like a 2 mile like area. I mean, you better bring some seriously comfortable shoes. But
Right.
I really like, and I want to dive a little deeper because I like this. I like this good. I like finding rabbit holes. So I think this is a good rabbit hole, right?
Okay.
Is, I think this is a good first step is really, take a look at the mirror, really be honest with yourselves in 2025, and take a look at your overall operational strategy and maybe identify a few places that maybe you didn't consider a win, and maybe take those and work back towards the education and see where
Right.
there it is there. And then maybe take a look at the technologies. But I'm kind of curious for you, because we talked a little bit this earlier about simplifying the
Right.
strategy. What do you think are a few things that dealerships, should have really kind of done an audit with on 2025 so that they're well prepared for this year?
I used to use this strategy, and I would encourage everybody to think this. If you were buying your store today,
Mhm.
so in other words, if you were just going through the acquisition of your current location,
I like that. Okay.
you'd do an audit of your current tools and processes through each department. So, in other
Mhm.
words, in your sales department, you'd have inventory management tools, and you'd have a CRM, and you'd have a DMS, and so on and so forth. And in your service department, you'd have service advisor write up tools and dispatch tools. And in your parts department, you'd have an inventory management process. And in your reconditioning department, you probably have some sort of software. So, what I would encourage everybody to do is to stop,
Mm.
act as if you just bought the store,
Mhm. Okay.
and rank your current tools by department and rank them on three things.
Okay.
Number one, are we using them efficiently?
Mhm.
Number two, does it fit within my business model? A lot of tools that are purchased over time inside a dealership don't necessarily fit with the dealership's business model.
That's a really good point. I've seen that happen a few times. Yep, 100% with you.
And then lastly, has this tool turned into what I call unproductive expense? So we're paying for it. We're not sure why we're paying for it. We wish we knew, but one person in the department thinks it's okay, so we'll just keep paying.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So I would encourage the simplification, starting with, if you bought your store today, how many of these current tools would rank? How many of them have turned into unproductive expense? And frankly, do they really fit with your business model? Because what I would submit to you, Jason, is that most dealerships' business models have evolved in the last 3 years.
So that's a very good point, Ed.
And we really have to catch up with, there's a lot of these legacy tools that have had enhancements over time, but they have been leapfrogged by some of the newer tools that actually more currently fit business models that are actually operating today. So don't get yourself caught up into we can't operate without it. Actually ask yourself, would you buy that tool again today if you were buying this store that you're currently in and going to take over tomorrow? How many of these tools would you currently have in place?
You know what, Ed? I'm really digging this. I like this a lot, right? Because, I think, too often we get into a business model and we don't necessarily pressure test that business, right? Like, it's like we just kind of get into a rhythm of just kind of like, well, and we've heard it like, Dad did it that way. I'm doing it this way, and we'll just continue to do it this way, right? But no, I like this. I like this. A real audit, a real pressure test of that, because to your point, look, we both know some incredibly successful and amazing operators out there.
Right.
And, one of the consistent patterns I've seen with those operators is that they have a great business model that is really kind of built around people and process.
Right.
And I think to your point that sometimes, we originally created a business model around people and process, but it never evolved. It didn't update. It never changed. And therefore the technology kind of got stuck with it, So like, okay, this is where I want to go with this next question is, thinking on people and process, and then obviously working backwards towards the technology to assist in a good, successful business model that includes, people and process. What are some of those processes that you think people need to be reevaluating or auditing, like right now?
Well, I would encourage dealers to use the "what does this replace" strategy, because when you're evaluating people and processes, we have to look at, if you're going to change a process, what's the net gain? What's going to happen that's going to cause a net gain? What are the intangibles? And what is it that you're going to change on your process that is going to improve the performance of your business model? And what's missing in most stores today is clarity. We do not have enough clarity on the following. What do we as leaders or operators want? Number 2, why do we want this?
Yeah.
Number 3, here is how to execute it. And number 4 is, what's in it for you, the employee, middle manager? We get caught up in the fact that, and this is on vendors too, Jason.
Oh no,
they're responsible for this as well.
Yeah.
It's our obligation and responsibility to provide massive clarity. This is what, when a dealership gets cloudy, it's almost as if some stores get cataracts. They can't see. They get cloudy, and at my age, you start to get stuff like that. But this lack of clarity, and then we stack tools that allegedly are going to change us or improve us, or the standard oil sell one car and you'll pay for it. You know, you really have to use what's the net gain by replacing the current thing that I have, and it's the intangibles. What is the collateral damage of taking the old one out, putting the new one in? What's the ramp up time of integration?
Yes.
Is this a tool that puts me on offense, or is this a tool that plays defense? I see so many dealerships today that are playing defense, and you can't score any points unless you're playing offense.
No, that's a really good point. I look, I've seen a lot of that as well. I mean, we're thinking, you know what it is? We get super comfortable.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it because look, if you're probably watching the show right now, you're actually not one of these these dealers that we're talking about. You're watching the show because you're not comfortable and you are looking, right? But that is kind of the core of it. It's that comfort. I call it a full belly syndrome,
right?
Where we get satisfied with what we have achieved and never questioning what we could have achieved.
Right.
And I feel like we need to have a moment where we just got to be honest with ourselves about that. Do you agree?
Absolutely. No question. I you know, and I would submit to you, Jason, that the industry's been pretty good over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot of wonderful incomes made. Net profitability has been pretty substantial from the dealership operation standpoint. But as we all know, it has become increasingly tougher to maintain those margins and maintain those income levels for employees. And you have to really ask yourself this question. Is it because we didn't evolve, or was it because we didn't create enough clarity on what we want, why we want it, how to do it, and what's in it for them? And we become comfortable in relationships over time, and we don't think that we have to communicate clarity. Ask anybody that it has a relationship issue, and they will tell you it all comes back to clarity of communication. So
it really does. It's about clarity and communication, clarity in what our business objectives are, and really just being honest.
Right.
You know, and you know, kind of like I was saying, not necessarily satisfied with what we have, but what could we have, and stress test that again. Look, and I know, Ed, we're getting towards the tail end of our time.
Sure, of course.
When me and you get into conversations, I feel like me and you can just go.
Right. Yeah.
But I know for everybody out there watching, listening right now, they would probably love to connect with you and maybe even continue some parts of this conversation. I imagine you're going to be at NADA. What's another way that someone can maybe connect with you and just learn more about what you're doing?
I have a website. It's autoprofitgroup.com. I also have a email address, autoprofitllc@gmail.com. And I'd be happy to connect either way. And I would like to leave the audience with one last thing. When you're at NADA and you're evaluating the true value of tools and partners, take a scorecard with you and ask yourself 3 things. What's the relationship quality of these tools that I'm going to have? Because it's not buying just a tool, it's buying a relationship.
That's true.
Is there two-way accountability? Meaning the tool should ask you to be responsible for things as much as you're asking them to be responsible. And last, but certainly not least, DISC. Does it sell cars?
Yeah.
And does it fit into my ecosystem? Because if those tools don't have DISC and they don't fit into your ecosystem, they can be the best tools ever, but they won't integrate well and they won't make you more money.
And I mean, seriously, it's probably some of the best. You know, I'm doing like 27 of these conversations.
Yeah, you're busy.
And here comes Ed with just like, let me just sum it up for you in 30 seconds. And but no, Ed, I'm so glad the DISC, I feel like I want to make a t-shirt out of it and say,
absolutely.
Can I do this? Can I make it a DISC because Ed French said so?
Absolutely.
All right. I think I need to make this t-shirt And we need to get some of these out there because you are so right. How often do I get into a demo with a company or a potential partner, right?
Right.
Or not even that. Maybe I'm looking at a new process or maybe even a new person I want to hire or something like that. And I'm like, you know, it's surface level. I'm getting engagement. I'm not. Does it sell cars? Does that
Yep.
process sell cars? Is that new hire going to sell new cars? Is that new technology partner
Yep.
going to help me sell cars? That is the true measure of it. Ed, thank you so much, dude. I love it. Just drops a bomb. I thank you so much for your time today. This has been great for everybody out there watching, listening. Look, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is share the show. Look, I know you're not going to smash the subscribe button or hit the like or anything like that, but I will tell you right now, if you got a friend or a manager or a colleague that needs to see some part of this amazing conversation today, share the show. It means so much to us. Ed, thank you so much for your time. I really
Thank you.
appreciate having you on. You have yourself a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Your host, Jason Harris. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.